offer our most respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like the Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagati Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagati Gopi Janabalabha Girivadodati Gopi Janabalabha Girivadodati Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Manachate Yamuna Tera Banachare Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagati Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagati Gopi Janabalabha Girivadodati Gopi Janabalabha Girivadodati Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Chante Yamuna Tera Manachante Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihati Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihati Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravidacharya also Teta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavan Gajaya Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Kijai Vrindavanam Kijai Maturanam Kijai Jagadava Sami Kijai Munamai Kijai Shrimati Lasi Devi Kijai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Kijai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaur Vadi Pachari Nivashesha Shunya Vadi Paschatade Shatari. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 52nd chapter, text 39. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tan me bhavan kalu vrita patir anga jayam atmarpatash cha bhavato atra vivo videhi ma Vira Bhagam Abhimarshatu Chaitya Arad Gomayu Van Mriga Pater Valim Ambujaksha Tan Me Bhavan Kalubrita Patiranga Jayam Atmar Patascha Bhavato Travibo Videhi Mavira Bhagam Abhimarshatu Chai Jagarat Gomayu Van Regapater Balimambu Jaksha Tan Me Bhavan Kalubrita Patiranga Jayam Atmar Pitascha Bhavatotra Vibo Videhi Mavira Bhagam Abhimarshatu Chai Jagarad Gomayu Van Regapater Balamambu Jaksha Tan Me Bhavan Kalubrita Patiranga Jayam Atmarpitascha bhavato travibo vitehi. Mavira bhagam abhimarshatu chaijakarad. Gomayuvan mrigapater balimambu jaksha. All right. Tat, therefore, may, by me, Vavan, your good self, Kalu, indeed, Vrata, chosen, Pati, as husband, Anga, dear Lord, Jayam, as wife, Atma, myself, Arpita, offered, Cha, and, Bhavata, to you, Atra, here, Vivo, O omnipotent one, Videhi, please accept, Ma, never, Vira of the hero. Bhagam of the portion. Abhimarshatu should touch. Chayadya Shishupala, son of king of Chedi. Arat, swiftly. Gomayuvat, like a jackal. Mrigapate, belonging to the king of animals, the lion. Balim, the tribute. Amuja Aksha, O lotus-eyed one. So translation, therefore, my dear Lord, I have chosen you as my husband, and I surrender myself to you. Please come swiftly, O Almighty One, and make me your wife. My dear lotus-eyed Lord, let Shishupal never touch the hero's portion like a jackal stealing the property of a lion. You can repeat. Therefore, my dear Lord, I have chosen you as my husband, and I surrender myself to you. Please come swiftly, O Almighty One, and make me your wife. My dear lotus-eyed Lord, let Shishupal never touch the hero's portion like a jackal stealing the property of a lion. So there is no purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, but the acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Bir Goswami have commentaries, so I'm going to read them before speaking. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, since I am attracted to you, I therefore have chosen you as my husband. It is not just now, but from the first I have chosen you. Both my soul and body have been offered to your lotus feet. I have sent this letter to inform you of my mental state. If you accept me, I will maintain my life, and if you reject me, I will burn myself up. I will not give myself to anyone else, even if Brahma himself were to ask. But my offering of myself to you is not like the surrender of Bali Maharaj, who was nirbhava. And I'm going to explain this further after we finish the Acharya's purports. Without intense love. With that intention, she says, accept me as your wife. If someone gives someone some food, as says, you should eat this, that is nirbhava. But my surrender is swabhavam, touched with prema and thus superior. You should quickly send back the Brahmana with a reply so that I know whether you accept me or not, so that Shishupal will not take the share meant for you. Being moistened by this one hope, my body does not burn up. Interesting expression. Being moistened by this one hope. If Shishupal comes and touches me, then with the destruction of hope for attaining you, the fire of separation will blaze up and burn my body. My fear, however, is that you will become infamous. Shishupal will take your share like a jackal, stealing from a lion. That impudence towards you will be broadcast everywhere. O lotus-eyed Lord, my body, though burning in the fire of separation from you, does not feel pain because I meditate on your lotus eyes. And Jiva Goswami's commentary. Since Rukmi has another groom for me, as a woman, my devotion to you will lead to the greatest disaster in this life and the next. But he, as the Lord, will never be indifferent. Overcome with shame, she speaks of 3 successive actions which will solve the problem. She addresses him many times out of feeling lowly. I've offered my Atma to you. What to speak of my body? The possessive case is used, bhatava, of you, to indicate her natural position of belonging to him, though usually the dative case would be used. I have offered my soul to you. So that's the swabhavam right there. And I'm going to explain that in a few minutes. As opposed to nirbhava. Everyone understands that. Because it's a question of possession. And bhava in this particular context is bhava, which is one's state or what one is. So anyway, do as you wish and make me your wife. Nothing is impossible since you are capable of anything. Vibho. If you do anything else, your prowess will be destroyed, O courageous one. Vira, please come quickly. So because Shishupal is close, Arat, if you do not come, it will be shameful for you. A jackal should not steal from a lion. O lotus-eyed Lord, since your very nature is always to manifest your beauty, by seeing you, my suffering will be destroyed. And again, the verse. Tanme bhavam kaluvrita patiranga jayam atmarpitascha bhavato travibo videhi ma virupagam abhimarshatukchai jagarad gumayuvan regapater balimam bujaksha. So Om Ganat Chimiranda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Un Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So I thought I'd start out by reading Gopal Champu's statements about, well, actually, Gopal Champu Jiva Goswami's realizations and restatement of all these different verses. So we're going to begin with the first one and go through the verses and read that. Okay, and then we'll go on to this particular verse. O lotus-eyed Krishna, my mind becomes absorbed in those qualities. Those qualities combine and remain in my mind, which thinks of you as the only goal. By those qualities, my heart gives up all shyness and constantly follows you. O Lord, let these qualities which destroy all suffering and your form, which bestows all results, not be given to me, though I desire them. But I do not want to see other women in such a position. What intelligent woman with good family and qualities would not worship you? For there is no one equal to you in qualities, and you attract the minds of all people in the three worlds. O most worshipable Krishna, because you attract all, I have given up shyness. I immediately accept you as my husband. Shishupal cannot touch this body which has been offered to you, O lion among men. Is the lioness's body fit for the jackal? It's a little bit different way of expressing the same thing. I have worshipped the Lord since childhood by various types of charity to serve you. If this is not accomplished, or if there's an obstacle in my worship, let my body perish. But no one else should touch my body. O Krishna, the day after tomorrow I'm to be married. Come to the marriage secretly tomorrow, surrounded by soldiers, defeating Shishupal and others. Take me away when I go out to worship Devi, according to the custom. If the Lord, the dust from whose lotus feet takes away all suffering, is not pleased, let me have the benediction of worshiping him and giving up my life for thousands of births. So this is Rukmini's determination. And then just commenting on Rukmini's attempt in this particular verse that we read today to convince Krishna to kidnap her because she's afraid that Krishna's reputation will be spoiled. There's an interesting quote from Prabhupada about a Kshatriya's reputation I wanted to read. Prabhupada states, this is a conversation, referring to the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, beginning with verse 34. On the other hand, if you don't fight, You are known as a great warrior, a great soldier. If you go away, people will say against your reputation, "Oh, Arjuna has become a coward. He has fled from the fighting. So it is better to die than to have a bad reputation." That is another argument, yes. And then the devotee reads from text 34. People will always speak of your infamy, and for one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. And then Prabhupada states, explaining this verse, now you are so much honored as Arjuna the great fighter, Dhananjaya. And if you leave, you go away from this fighting and leave, and people will say, "Oh, Arjuna has become a coward. He did not fight." Then what is the use of your living in such a way? Better die. Fight and die. That is good for you. Yes. Devotee reads text 35. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you a coward. And then Prabhupada says, a Kshatriya, it is the custom of the Kshatriya that if they're wounded on the backside, he is considered a coward. But if he's wounded on the chest, he's accepted as a real Kshatriya. So, this is the mood that Rukmini, and of course Krishna has too. That means he has fought face to face. That is the injunction of the military art in Vedic, injunction of military art in Vedic injunction. Devotee, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? So Rukmini is actually concerned for Krishna. And this shows her swabhavam. She's concerned for Krishna's reputation. It's not that she's simply using this as a subterfuge to try to get Krishna to come. She is actually thinking of Krishna's reputation. So now we'll talk about the interesting topic, the main topic today, which is this nirbhava versus swabhavam, without any bhava, some pronouncing it wrong, without any other consideration. So, bhava can mean existence. Sometimes it means material existence, like bhava, rogue. It comes from the word to be. But in this particular case, it indicates one's very nature. And for Rukmini, her very nature is described by Srila Rupa Goswami. Nyabi lashita shunyam jnana karma navritam anukuyena krishnanushilanam bhaktirutamam. That she is devoid of any other consideration, subtle or gross, and simply wants to please Krishna. So all these her words are not simply to bring Krishna to her so she can be pleased. So she simply wants to please Krishna in the way that Krishna wants to be pleased. She's simply thinking of Krishna's happiness. As the gopis were thinking of Krishna's happiness, that's brought out in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the final chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita on the Shikshashika, where you have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Srimati Radharani saying that if my unhappiness is your happiness, then my unhappiness is my happiness. So this is the mood of unalloyed surrender. So what is the, let's give some examples of nirbhava. Of course, there's the story of Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj's surrender, the impetus for Bali Maharaj's surrender was not precisely pure devotional service. Not at all. Actually, he decided to offer, if we read the story, he decided to offer everything to this Brahmin boy, Lord Vamanadev, because he was very concerned to what? Anyone know? His reputation again, to keep his promise. So it wasn't like his nature. It wasn't his swabhava to surrender to Krishna. It was an extraneous considerations. You understand the principle? He was thinking I mean, of course, all of us, we have these extraneous considerations, and of course, Krishna talks about this in the Bhagavad Gita. Chatur Veda Bhajanti Mam. I mean, all of us, well, not all of you, but me in particular, we come to Krishna for various personal considerations. And I'm going to mention in a second, the Shikshashtaka deals with this, and it actually culminates, because I was very inspired yesterday hearing Rudrani speak about the Shikshashtaka, culminates in this swabhavam, where one has no personal considerations. So anyway, so there's the story of Bali Maharaj. Can anyone think of another story where the devotees surrender or to the Supreme Personality of Godhead was not swabhava or swabhavam, and it was nirbhava? Gajendra. That's right, Gajendra the elephant. And of course, he was previously King Indradyumna, who had been put in the body of an elephant. He basically was scared. You know, one of the reasons for surrendering to the Lord, one is freedom from distress, want some wealth, inquisitive, or in search for knowledge. So that's nirbhava in this particular context. Can anyone think of another one? What? Yeah, Kaliya's wives. Why? Yeah, Kaliya himself. Why? Yeah, the stress. I mean, they were fear, fear. I mean, ultimately, they did surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But their surrender and approach was not based on his pleasure. It wasn't like Rukmini, 100% of her consciousness is to give pleasure to Krishna. That's swabhavam. So another example. 4 Kumaras. Dhruva Maharaj. He, of course, he wanted a great kingdom, so, there's some desire there. Of course, we know akama, sarvakama, mokshakama, dharadi, tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So we're not discouraging people. We're saying whether you're akama, of course, how many of us are akama? Sarvakama, some may be sarvakama. Mokshakama. It's hard to be sarvakama. All desires. Mokshakama. But so many of us, want this moksha. Sometimes, things get really intense and I'm thinking, oh my God, how can I escape? So that's mokshakama. Krishna, save me from this distress. Krishna, help me. Save me. It's not on the highest platform, but be aware you're not on the highest platform. Utilize that to become focused. Another example of nirbhava. Can you think of another? I'm thinking of another example right now. What? Oh yeah, Shivadwara. I was thinking about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, Jagai and Madai. That's definitely nirbhava. So it's interesting. It really helps us understand this contrast between nirbhava and swabhavam, helps us understand Rukmini's mood more. Yeah, Arjuna on the battlefield. Like that. So, anyway, I thought that was a very important point. And then we're going to talk about the Shikshashtaka. Oh, yeah, actually, before that. So we're talking about different stages. First of all, I want to talk about different stages, because this relates to the Shikshashtaka too, because each and every stage of devotional service has its correlation with a particular verse in the Shikshashtaka, beginning with sadhu, shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, nishta, ruchi, shakti, bhava and prema, there's a different prominence of this self-identification versus identifying yourself as belonging to Krishna or meant for Krishna's pleasure. So, for example, this is part of the chart that I drew up for the Madhurya Kadambini class. When one first starts to associate with sadhus, one's identification, or false ego, you may call it, is all pervading. I mean, it's there. And when you get to bhajana kriya, it's still in full force, a little bit diminished. In nishta, it's prominent, but a little less. In ruchi, it's what we call localized, dealing with certain issues. And in ashakti, which means very much attachment, there's a trace of it. And even in bhava, there's a shadow, an empty shadow of it. It's not really there, but there's a shadow of it. And that's why in the case of Bharta Maharaj, he still had a conception of himself being the enjoyer or being the protector. Like we see in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text 29. Krishna has the conception that we should have of him. Bhaktaram Jagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Surya, ultimate goal of all sacrifice. He's the Lord of all the worlds. And he's our best friend. So this is, if we have that conception, then that's swabhavam. Anyway, then in prema, there's complete absence. It's absolutely gone, one's conception of oneself as separate than being a servant of Krishna or wife of Krishna or friend of Krishna. So, let's talk about the Shikshashtakam. And we'll see, in the Shikshashtakam, we'll see how this concept of swabhavam gradually develops from nirbhavam. So start with the text 3, where one should chant the holy name of the Lord. I'm going to read this. I had the translations written down. A humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So there's no real, implicitly, but it's no description of the concept of swabhavam in this particular point. And then the next text is, Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. So there's more conception there. That this is my desire to be your servant, birth after birth. But then there's some, in the text 5, there's a conception of, I want to get out of this world. I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Actually, if we translate all the words, it's the horrible ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. So there's conception of get me out of here. Get me out of this material world. But then, in text 6, we find the devotee is hankering to come to the stage of bhava, not bhava, bhava. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? And then further, In text 7, Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. But there's still this some personal, I am feeling all the world in your absence. And then in the last text, you have this completely, the perfection, not only of swabhavam, which is no self-interest, but actually the perfection of dainya, which I mentioned in the previous class, of humility. No consideration of oneself at all, which is abject humility. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he should remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally, complete unconditional surrender. And as I mentioned before, this shows the perfection of dainya, perfection of prema, and swabhavam, one's consideration of oneself as simply an instrument to give happiness, pleasure to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so that's really the point of Krishna consciousness, to come to that platform of swabhava, where my very existence is meant to give Krishna pleasure. Anyway, so any questions or comments? We got about another 2 minutes of class. Yes, mother-in-law. Yeah. Only who is? The gopis, yeah. Swa-artha, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Feminine qualities and everything. That couldn't disturb, yeah. Yeah, primarily. Absolutely. That was an interesting analysis. Yeah, so, but Rukmini is definitely swabhavam. She, yeah, she's definitely, I mean, it's definitely swabhavam, because that's stated by the acharyas. By, I, it's high. It's above my pay grade. That is above. Yeah, we'll have to see later. But I am praying to become swabhavam. Just have Krishna's interests 100%. And if something gives, to have the consciousness of something gives Krishna pleasure, that's it for me. That's my prayer. And by Prabhupada's mercy, there's some possibility.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajam Kataksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Anandani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam
Adi Purusham Tamaham Jami
Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami
Bhajami. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacha Negini Sesha Shunyavati Achachante Satarande Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Siva Sade Gaurabhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Siva Sade Gaurabhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityananda Sri Advaita Radha Shiva Sade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanityananda Advaita Radha Shiva Sade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Agarakinana Radha, Agarakinana Radha. Jaya Radha, Agarakinana Radha, Agarakinana Radha. Jaya Radha, hey. Radhe Radhe Radhe. Naya Radhe 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 Radhe. Sri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paramahansa